This is Suzanne Wagner, and I am doing the personal blog and quote for the 6th of August, 2022. My quote for today: what if there was no tomorrow for you? How would you live this moment today? If you knew that this was the final precious day, how would you be with others? Always say those special words of love. Always look past the personality of others. See what is often hidden, even from those who think they are enlightened, yet they still seem to be lost and seeking. Become the beacon of the hopeful potential of their full awakening. And my blog for today: I remember the smells of the electricity building in the air as a child. I remember running across the fields, chasing after the double and triple rainbows in Colorado. Sure, I could run fast enough to get to the end of the rainbow and find that pot of gold. I remember the feelings of recent past lives echoing into this one, causing me to plan escape routes in case of fire and having multiple options to avoid the past life dangers that seemed to want to bleed into this one. I remember being crystal clear about not one, but all my past lives when I was 4 years old and saying to a group of women at the house, "Of course you've had past lives, can't you remember yours?" And watching their shocked faces as I listed all of mine and the categories they fell into, the lives and deaths of those that were me in another time, in those moments that were most important and impactful to my soul in that lifetime. I remember arguing with the nuns in parochial school about the Bible and explaining where there were mistakes in the translation and why those mistakes persisted when I was 6 years old. And then realizing that the nuns were supposed to know about God, but they could not see the guardian angel in the room. And that meant that they were lost and they had lost their God connection. And if they were in charge, that meant we were in big trouble, because how could they show the path if they were blind and had shut down their God-given connection to truth? I remember the smell of children in the dance studios when I started dancing. I remember the feeling of tap shoes and the clicking sound that came up through the floor and into my body and through the bones in my legs. I remember the tree fairy that lived in the ancient tree down by the creek on our backyard, and how she and I would play for hours as she showed me the secret places where the bobcats lived and the deep pools where the carp still swam free. I remember the sounds of the thunder as it echoed into the purple sky as the huge storms rolled in, and how the sound seemed to rumble before it cracked and crackled in the sky. I remember climbing down the steep cliffs in Colorado, hanging onto the branches of the fallen trees for handholds to reach the river below and the places where the muskrats nested. I remember the happiness that exists deep in my soul and cannot help but leach out of me and into the world. I remember that I exist in infinite realms when I experience this moment, and I feel those subtle connections of other times and places that interconnect and persist. In each moment, the passions that moved me cannot help but move through to others and touch magical times and places. While I am a dancer, I am a dancer that moves with the infinite choreography of time and space. In your life right now, you exist, but do you remember those precious moments in time? Do you realize that those special moments cross the time-space continuum? If you cannot sense the preciousness within a timeless moment, you may miss the glimpse that these moments give into other dimensions in which you also exist. Reverence is the key to passing through such portals. Such worlds hold a resonance that can bend time and space. Grace is a frequency that gives one access to another reality. Compassion gives one the ability to see past the karmic manifestations that a soul is working through, to see into the true essence that is striving to understand. The higher and more subtle frequencies are easily blocked by the darker and denser emotional constructs of this reality. The potential that is hidden within the human condition is up to all of us to explore, expand, and express. It is a wonderful gift to be human And there is much more going on if one listens to those frequencies that allow for expanded connection. Life has never abandoned us, but it is those that give up that abandon life and the potential that is there. Life requires us to reach for the light. Too many chase after a thing, but do not enjoy the process. Too many do not allow that flow to move and dance them in this life as they reach towards that light. Bodies will die, but when the soul knows the patterns and flows that surround all living things, we learn to relish exhaustion and understand that effort is this dimension, in this dimension is rewarded. The process of breathing and being is exquisite, fulfilling, and meaningful. Just having a body that can move and flow in this reality is the greatest joy. Those who need to be constantly entertained have not yet experienced the depth of love that everyone carries within. We love because it is what we are. We do not need others to love us. Striving only for that will lead to unhappiness. Need is a reflection that we have forgotten who and what we really are, and we believe that others have it to give us. Appreciation, or appreciate, each exquisite moment, sound, and pebble in your shoe. Feel the floor under your feet. Smell the air and let it tell you a story. Listen to the thoughts of nature as it moves and touches the trees, the land, and the waters. Open the doorways to what is naturally there and discover so much more than you ever wanted or believed you could have. Thanks, everyone.